let's see. Okay, a couple things before we bring Shelby on. Keep joining us. Keep being a part of things. It's exciting. People continue to keep logging on. Okay, a couple things that you need to know. So Shelby's going to be talking a lot about his book, and it's a really good book if you haven't had a chance to read it. There's just some great stuff in there. It's called I Am a Tool to Help with Your Dating Life. It's published by Crew Press. And one thing that you need to know is we aren't doing this webinar to really promote his book. Obviously, we'd love for you to buy it, but that's not why we're doing this. And Shelby wanted me to let you know, too, that if you do decide to buy a copy of his book, he doesn't get any money from it. So it might sound like, wow, dude, you're talking a lot about your book. You know, you're going to buy a boat? That's not how it works at all. All the proceeds from the sale of Shelby's book, actually, none of them go to him. They all go back into the ministry of Crew to help produce more resources, to be able to reach more people. So again, you can know if you're buying a copy of the book, you're not just helping yourself and getting great information. You're definitely not helping Shelby, and you're helping the ministry of Crew if you do decide to buy a book. And I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the webinar. But just thought that would be helpful for you guys to know. So I'm excited for what Shelby has to say. We're going to bring him on in just a minute here. So maybe Shelby, get ready to fire up your camera and your microphone and all that stuff. So after he speaks, I'm going to be able to take about 2 or 3 questions from the audience. And so again, tweet those to me, text those to me, post them up on Instagram using the hashtags or on Facebook. So please do that. Okay, so Shelby, are you here? Are you ready to roll? Bring your mic up and your video up if you are, and we can get cranking here.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Nice. I can hear you just fine, bro. Yeah, there you go. Look at him. There's your mug.
Yeah.
Sharp, bro.
Hey, thanks.
So Shelby, I'm excited that you're here. As you guys know, Shelby is the MC at Big Break, and we've had the pleasure of working together last spring break. We'll be working together again this spring break at Big Break. He's written a couple books for Crew Press. He's certainly loves the Lord, but he also loves his family. He is married to Rachel, and he's got 2 adorable little daughters, Quinn and Hayden. And he's become a real good friend. And so I really, I'm excited for that you guys get a chance to hear what he has to say. And so are you ready, bro?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Take it away, my friend. I'm going to turn off my mic and my camera and let you have at it.
Great. Thanks, Bob. Thank you so much, you guys, for logging on. Let me start by saying that tonight we're obviously going to talk about dating. But we're going to do it in kind of a limited way. There's so much that I won't be covering tonight when it comes to the subject of dating, simply for the sake of time. I'm only going to speak for about a half an hour or so, and we're just going to be highlighting the areas really of what you logged on for: social media and texting. When we get near the end of my time, we're going to talk about the actual 10 no-nos that will help to save your Valentine's Day. So I kind of wanted to forecast that. We'll get to that eventually. It'll be near the end of our time here. But I'm going to do a couple little things on the front to help you kind of gather a framework for dating before we move on to the aspects of social media and the 10 things that could ruin your Valentine's Day. Like I said, I'll mention my book, like Bob said, I'll mention my book a few times, and I recommend it in a way of understanding more completely what God calls us to in the context of dating relationships. So I'd love it if you check that out. Also, there are a number, really just kind of start this. Let's start with Bible. It's really a great way to start pretty much anything. There are a number of verses in Scripture about being a good steward of what the Lord has entrusted to us, what he has given to us. I'll give you a couple examples. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23, 1 Corinthians 4, verses 1 through 2, Titus 2, 7, Luke 16, verse 10, and then, of course, the parable of the talents in Matthew chapter 25. So what's the point of that? The point really is to be responsible and full of integrity with what the Lord has given to us. And for the purposes of our conversation tonight, we want to be responsible and full of integrity when it comes to technology. More specifically, social media and texting. All right. So that's what we're kind of framing that with. Let's be responsible with what the Lord has entrusted to us. Let's be good stewards of social media and with texting with our phones. Okay. Now, let me also say, usually when someone who's a little bit older, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, someone's a little bit older, and they mention like social media and phones, you get this kind of curmudgeon-y response of like, well, those kids these days, they with their stupid phones and they bury their faces in that. They're always on their computers or whatever. I really don't think that the problem, especially when it comes to dating, is technology. I really don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is what technology specifically has forced to the surface in our lives. And it's forced to the surface things like fear, laziness, apathy, and a desire to kind of control our environment all around us. We, specifically as Americans, have created this thing that I like to call the digital shield. And the digital shield is essentially this kind of layer of digital protection that we put on ourselves so that we can't be hurt by other people. And also we can't really be known to the degree that we need to be known because we're hiding behind our computers or we're hiding constantly behind our phones. And the reason why is because it is tough for a guy to look a girl in the eye and ask her out on a date. It's really hard to do that face to face. Just like it's hard for a girl to tell a guy that she has no desire to be more than friends with him when he shows interest in her. That's really tough to do. Face-to-face tension can be almost unbearable sometimes. So a lot of people usually opt for the initial stages of dating to take place behind the safety of their phones or their computers. And I will say that this is a mistake. It's not wise to do that. When that happens, when we constantly communicate through our phones and our computers, a precedent gets set that important communication between a couple is going to be dealt with in the easiest way possible, a way that brings the least amount of anxiety right now, but in a sense, glosses over the realities of life. Now, as I wrote the book, I was doing a ton of research for it, and I looked at a lot of resources from both Christian and from secular places. And one of the secular resources that I ran across that I thought was interesting was an interview with psychologist Sherry Turkle. And she was asked a series of questions about technology and its direct correlation to social interaction amongst people. When asked why texting becomes more and more common than talking amongst young people, Sherry Turkle said this: because it protects people from the possibility of confrontation. There's a whole generation that isn't learning how to have a conversation. She said, I asked some kids why they choose to avoid face-to-face conversations and communication, and one boy said, because it takes place in real time. You can't control what you're going to say. Turkle went on to say, without this skill, kids aren't prepared to negotiate many of life's bumps. And let me just say, she's absolutely right. A dating couple, should not be in the habit of retreating to the safety of their phone or computer in times when it's hard to handle the bumps of relationship friction. Your phone will quickly become the sole means by which you deal with everything if you're not careful. Now, that smiley face emoji with hearts for eyes might be cute once or twice to quench the fire of an argument between a couple, but when it's time to get real, cute emojis are not going to suffice when authentic, difficult, real-time communication must happen in order for a relationship to survive and to thrive, and to honor Jesus for that matter. So let me pause here for a second and just talk to the dudes, all right? Let me talk to the men. Ladies, if you want to, you can just eavesdrop on this, all right? Men, let me encourage you. A couple things. Have face-to-face conversations with women you are interested in. I know this seems a little bit ironic because I'm talking to you via computer right now, but just hear me out on this, all right? If your idea of asking a girl out is typing a text message to her that says, hey, want to hang out sometime this weekend? You need to rethink your strategy. Your methods are not quite good enough. We just need to be intentional about looking girls in the eye and asking them out. It shows courage. Additionally, if you take a girl out on a date, when you go to get her, don't text the word here from her driveway or from her parking lot outside her apartment. Have the guts to get out of your car, walk up to her door, knock on her door, and engage in some small talk and conversation with either her parents or her roommates. Lean into the social anxiety of going to pick up a girl and meeting her face to face without hiding in your car behind your phone. That girl's friends and her family love and care about her more than you do. So show them the respect they deserve by engaging with them and not hiding in the shadows behind your phone. Now, I know some girls out there are attracted to kind of the mystery of an unknown guy. They're like, oh, he's just so like dark and mysterious. I've got to figure him out. He's out there in the car right now, and I wonder what he's thinking. Oh, he's just so like a vampire or whatever. I have no idea. That might seem attractive to some ladies, but let me tell you, as a daddy, I'm not impressed at all with guys that do that. When my daughters are of dating age, God help me. Right now they are 4 and 2, so thankfully I've got a long way to go. And the boy they want to go out with doesn't have the guts to walk up to my front door, shake my hand, engage in a little chit chat about the weather and the NFL and Fast and Furious like 12 by then. Guess what? He does not get to take my daughter out. It's really just as simple as that. And my prayer is, honestly, not only will that just be a rule in my house, my prayer is that my daughters will not even be interested in a guy that's not willing to do that. I want them to be attracted to men who would want to come and show me the respect I deserve as their father. Now, I know what you might be thinking, especially right now. You're kind of like, who in the world asks a girl out face to face these days? Who does that? And I understand your question. And my answer to that is, well, ideally, you. You do that. Instead of succumbing to the social norms of passive digital relational interaction, set a different kind of standard of caring for a woman by actually communicating with her personally. Not only will you stand out as a man among boys, it will also communicate care, respect, and character in a world that devalues these admirable things in men. This is the kind of guy I would trust with my daughters. And this is the kind of man you should be as well. So that's my exhortation to the men. Now, let me talk to the ladies just for a second, all right? I'll be a lot nicer to you, I promise. Women, there is a lot of ambiguity in social media and texting. It can be dangerous to ascribe specific meaning to online posts or text messages when you don't know for sure what the intentions were of the one who posted or texted you. Assuming that a guy means something when he doesn't state it explicitly is an incorrect assumption, and it could really end up hurting you. So please be careful how you interpret. That's all I have for the ladies. I told you I'd be a lot nicer to them. Guys usually like getting smacked around a little bit, and I need to be more sensitive with the ladies. So there you go. One more kind of last exhortation before we get into the 10 things. I want everybody to remember this. If you remember anything from tonight, remember this. Everything that is posted online or texted through a phone is edited. It's edited content. So the only real way to get to know someone in a deep and meaningful way is face-to-face. The exception I would only make would be maybe through FaceTime or Skype or video chatting, Google Hangout, something like that, if the relationship is long distance. Something, though, where you can actually see the person and interact with them and see kind of their body language. Social media and texting is helpful. It's good. I value it. But social media and texting should always be a springboard for relationships, not a substitute for relationships. My friend Carrie Armitrout said that. So let me say it again. I think this is really important. Social media and texting should always be, a springboard for relationships, not a substitute for relationships. All right. So now we're here. We're at that moment. Let's talk about the 10 social media no-nos that can ruin your Valentine's Day. Sunday's coming up. There's lots of things here. I'm going to talk to both people who are dating currently and people who are single as well, and maybe people who are in the initial stages of a dating relationship. We're going to talk about Valentine's Day and relationships specifically because when you think about it, Valentine's Day is really about a desire to be known. When you think about all the emotion that goes behind Valentine's Day, it's a desire to be known. You, as creation, as a human being, were made for relationship. And romance is a reflection of what we see in Scripture about Christ as the groom and his church as the bride. We as human beings long for that romance because it's hardwired into our souls. It's what we crave because we crave to be romanced by Jesus. All right? So here they are. Number 1, ready? Don't ever start a relationship or break up with someone via text or social media. Now, we talked a little bit about the beginning stages of a relationship. So let's talk about the other end too. Don't ever start a relationship or end a relationship via text message or social media. Have the guts, both guys and girls, if you're breaking up with someone, have the guts to do it face to face at the beginning and at the end. When you do that, you have the guts to do that, it shows character, it shows courage, and it shows respect. As I was doing the research for the book, I ran across this social media post of this guy who posted a picture on Instagram of a side-by-side image of him and his girlfriend on the left half, and on the right half was the same picture of him and his girlfriend, but his girlfriend was cropped out, so it was just a picture of him on the right, and the hashtag said Transformation Tuesday. And the world groaned a collective ugh, because that guy is a jerk, a major jerk. He did not have the guts to break up with his girlfriend face to face. He chose to post on Instagram. Show the respect to someone that they deserve. Show courage, character, and integrity by doing it face to face. Number 2, don't share, if you're dating, don't share every detail of your dating relationship online. Now, there's a level of discernment here because truthfully, when I see dates that are going well and that people have posted pictures on like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, even Twitter, of like the cool things that guys have done to like encourage their girlfriend and stuff like that, I'm very, I applaud that. I think it's awesome when guys do that. However, there are those couples, and you probably know those couples. Maybe you are that couple that post every single little detail of every single date online for the whole world to see. And when that happens, when you're doing that and posting all of that, I know you're excited about it, but what can happen is you can unintentionally hurt some of your single friends who are not dating anyone, or maybe someone who just went through a breakup. Now, I think it's great. And I'm not saying don't post this kind of stuff. I just say, let's not overload the internet with every detail of every single date that you go on so that we can protect the hearts of our single friends. I hope that makes sense. All right. Some of these are going to be longer, some are going to be a little bit shorter, right? Number 3, don't communicate important things over text messaging. We highlighted this with beginning a relationship and ending one, but it also goes for the sandwich, everything in the middle, all right? If I were here during this seminar and my wife texted me, Shelby, your car blew up in the parking lot. Fire emoji, sad face emoji, hashtag oops. I'd be like, what? Like, why did you text that to me? Why didn't you call me and tell me that? Because it's important information, right? And the same thing needs to happen when it comes to our relationships as we're dating. Don't communicate important things over text messaging. It's lazy and it's kind of sloppy. Be intentional about talking with someone. Of course, again, face-to-face is preferable, but you can also there's an app on your phone called a phone. You just tap that phone app and then you can call someone on it. I don't know if you knew that you can use your phone for calling people, but you can. Try it out. It's pretty sweet. All right, number 4. Don't constantly be on your phone when you're with other people. Now, this is a huge one, and this is almost a generational thing now. I run a summer mission with crew in Ocean City, Maryland. And a couple years ago, I walked into the main living room in kind of the beginning stages of the summer mission, and people were kind of sitting on couches and chairs and hanging out. It was this main living space. I walked in, and literally everybody in the room was on their phone, looking down and not talking to one another at all. And they were doing various things. They were either texting or posting pictures or kind of making comments or watching videos or whatever. I walked into the center of the room. Nobody noticed that I was there. And I said, everybody, eyes up. Talk to one another. Have conversations. The people in this room are better than the image of people on this phone. And now it was the beginning of the summer mission. And they grew, and by the end of the time that they were there, of course they preferred being with one another. This is some kind of social anxiety that happens in the initial stages of getting to know people. But it can be really, really hard sometimes when all we want to do is retreat to the safety of our phones. But it's really important that we don't fall victim to the belief that I post, therefore I am. You are not any more significant because you post something. When you go to an event and you see a beautiful sunset, for example, you can enjoy that in the moment and not necessarily have to take a picture and post it online in order to record the fact that it actually happened. Again, that kind of stuff is not bad. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying enjoy people because people are more important than ones and zeros in the digital world, okay? Number 5, if you're a couple, if you're dating, do the world a favor and don't fight on social media. Private conversations should be just that, private. If you're going to fight on social media, you might as well argue out loud on stage in front of everyone in your crew movement during your weekly meeting. It is none of anyone else's business what you guys argue about. So don't make it people's business by making it digitally public. All right. It's embarrassing and it's disrespectful. And frankly, it might make for kind of good drama to read on a computer, but it's not honoring to Jesus. All right. So if you're a couple, don't fight on social media. Number 6, if you're not a couple, if you're not dating anyone, don't fight on social media, all right? We've all seen the ridiculous Facebook arguments or maybe the bickering back and forth in the comment section of a blog or on YouTube or something like that. And arguments online are really like the digital equivalent of bathroom stall graffiti. It's just one vile kind of angry, malicious comment after another. When people fight online, they are shouting at someone. It might as well be a string of yo mama jokes, one right after the other, if you're fighting online. If everyone is talking, nobody is listening. It is a complete waste of time to argue online. And let me just say, I have been super tempted to do so. especially when people post stuff online that when their opinion is the opposite of mine. I have literally typed stuff out and then had a better mind to hit the delete key a bunch of times and go backward and not get involved. There's a real sense of immaturity that I see, even in adults. Like I've seen arguments between adults, like people from my church and stuff like that, sometimes that will fight online, and it's just completely pointless. Nobody is really listening to other arguments. They're not engaging in a respectful way. They're yelling at one another. It's disrespectful. So don't participate in arguments of any kind online. It will ruin not only your Valentine's Day, it will ruin every day of the week. All right, that's number 6. Number 7, don't talk to the faceless social media community about your relationship problems. Now, this isn't necessarily like fighting when a couple fights, but I'm talking about people sometimes who are single, who will post things like all alone on Friday night with nobody but Netflix and a pizza, #single. No guy or girl is reading that online and thinking to themselves, ooh, I want to date them. I want to make them #my boyfriend or #my girlfriend. It doesn't happen, all right? When we post those kind of things, really what it's doing is engaging people in a sort of a pity way. But pity relationships do not go anywhere, I promise, all right? If you've got problems, which we've all got problems, right? Talk to your friends or talk to a trusted mentor about them. Don't talk to the internet about it, okay? Number 8, don't get your significance from social media or texting for that matter. If you need a response to a text that you send out, or a like, or a comment on your website, your blog, or a retweet, or a view on your YouTube page, to feel good about yourself and feel like you matter in this world, like you're significant, here's what you're doing. You're literally worshiping a false god in hopes that it will bless you with fulfillment. And let me promise you that it will not. There have been times in my life when I have posted something online. A few years ago, I posted a video online, and overnight, it went from like 200 views to literally 16,000 views. It got caught up in a little mini viral thing. It didn't go much past that. But when I got caught up in the mini viral thing, I felt this like jolt of adrenaline, and I felt so like important and significant and excited and happy because people liked and they found it like my video worthy of their time. And immediately when I felt that kind of positivity and like kind of pride from that, I caught myself and I said, you know what, Shelby, your significance does not come from the fact that people are viewing your video. Your significance does not come from how many Twitter followers you have or how many people liked your Instagram post or your picture or how many people decided to even attend this webinar. My significance does not come from that. My significance comes from Jesus. God finds me worthy, significant, loved, important because of the fact that I have a relationship with him through his son, Jesus Christ. It is a constant reminder when this lives in our pocket and tells us all the time how much people are interested in us. So it's a hard disciplinary thing to not try to get significance from social media or from texting. You got to work at it. You got to be really intentional about making sure that you're going to Jesus for your significance and not to social media and to text messages. All right? 2 more. Number 9. Don't think that you know someone just because you stalk them online. All right? Tempting to do, especially around Valentine's Day. to kind of look at the person online that you know, that you like, or maybe even go to your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend's page and kind of look at them, kind of stalk them online. It's easy to think that we know people because we know things about them. As I've mentioned, everything I post or type out online or on text messaging is edited content, all right? So if you think you really know me just because you know a lot about me, you are sadly mistaken. Not only is the stuff I post online about myself kind of the, so to speak, the shiniest part of me, it is also really just kind of sterile factoids about me. Shows I watch, music I listen to, et cetera, et cetera. There is a profound difference between knowing about someone and really knowing someone. The Pharisees, back in biblical times, knew a lot about God, but they didn't really know him at all. Information about someone can be great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with knowing information about someone, but it should never be a substitute for a relationship with that person. Because when that happens, there's a perceived relationship bond. This is why celebrities all the time feel kind of weirded out by people who claim to know them, because they've read about them, they've looked at stuff online about them, and they feel like they know them. Today, I will be completely honest with you. I spent about 30 minutes today watching old One Direction videos. I was fascinated by how they got started on the X Factor UK, and I watched kind of their beginning stories. And by the time I got to the most recent videos that I looked at, which was the music video for Perfect and Drag Me Down, I watched both of those videos today. I felt like connected to them. I felt like I knew Harry. I knew Liam. Yeah, I knew Niall. I felt like I knew Louis, but I don't know them at all. Even though I know about them, I don't really know them. And that's really important as we think through social media and real relationships. You can know a lot about someone, but if you really want to get to know them and their heart, you need to spend time with them. You need to engage with them. So don't fall victim to that if you're looking to date someone or if you currently are dating someone, all right? It's really important. Finally, number 10. Here's the last one, and then I'll close up with a couple of good things of perspective from Scripture. Number 10, don't allow texting and social media to diminish your social skills. If all you do is live your life through your phone or through your computer, you will never know how to engage with someone appropriately. Learn the communication skills of eye contact, of proactive listening to what people say, asking good questions to get to know people and peel back the layers of their life. Not only will it make you a better boyfriend or girlfriend, but it will make you a better friend, a better sibling, a better son or daughter, and it will, frankly, it will even make you more hireable in the future. You will be more likely to get a job if you know good communication skills. If all you do is live your life through edited content, you will not know how to look someone in the eye. You will not know how to listen appropriately. You will not know how to respond in a give and take live scenario. But someone who does know how to do that will not only be a more well-rounded person, but like I said, they'll be more hireable in the future. They will be more likely to get a job. And as I said before, with the muscle kind of illustration, you need to work at this. You need to be disciplined to exercise that muscle. And the more you exercise it, the stronger you will get in the art of communication. We study it, we learn about it, but then we go practice as well. And we need to be intentional about practicing communication, not letting our phones and our computers substitute for authenticity. So those are the top 10. 10 social media no-nos and that can ruin your Valentine's Day. So let me conclude with this. When it comes to dating, All in all, what we really need to do is spend less time looking for the right person and more time on becoming the right person. The reality is that Jesus is ultimate. Cling to him in times of relationship sadness and heartache and loneliness and hurt and confusion. Cling to him in times of jubilation and zeal and comfort and fulfillment and exhilaration when every detail of your dating relationship is going along perfectly. We need Jesus when things are horrible, and we need Jesus when things are wonderful. He is the ultimate, regardless of the state of your dating relationship this Valentine's Day. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Revelation 22:13. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Colossians 1:17. No one will ever love you the way that Jesus loves you. No one will ever love you the way that Jesus loves you. I hope you remember that. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I appreciate you being here with us and spending some time with me. I'm going to throw it back to Bob in California, and he'll tell you how to download the first 3 chapters of my book for free. And he's going to announce the 10 winners of the signed copies of my books. Thanks so much for joining us, Bob.
Don't go away, Shelby. Shelby, we actually do have a question, so we got a minute. Are you okay to take one question? I think we have a time for that. Okay. We got a couple questions, but I picked this one. This is from Daniel, who's at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So shout out to UMBC and people listening there or watching there. So here's what he asked, and I think I picked this because I think it's a question that a lot of people might want to know the answer to.
Okay.
So just he says that days like Valentine's Days can be really made for romance and kind of romantic things. Right. So how can you do that and kind of make your Valentine's Day romantic without making it more difficult to keep boundaries? So I think the question is, really, how do you have good boundaries this Valentine's Day with whatever you're doing? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the nature of your relationship. I think that if you're in the beginning stages of a relationship, like you're just starting your dating relationship. I know people who have started their relationship on February 13th, and then the next day it was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? So the answer kind of depends based upon where you're at in your relationship. There are naturally going to be expectations when Valentine's Day rolls around, naturally. And I think that there are many types of boundaries as well. If we're talking about physical boundaries and stuff like that, that's a whole different conversation. Yeah. But when it comes to social boundaries or what the boyfriend or girlfriend is expecting out of what will happen on that Valentine's Day, honestly, a lot of it just has to do with communication. Asking good questions of your boyfriend or girlfriend. And I'd say definitely the men should take the lead on this and ask their girlfriend, hey, what would you like to see happen on Valentine's Day? I'm not trying to spoil it or make it kind of planned out and no spark or kind of a boring Valentine's Day to plan everything out. But really, what would you like to see happen in general, in vague terms? Would you like to do something? If you're in the beginning stages of your relationship, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? Would you rather just kind of hang out with friends and do something as a group, collaborative? Would you want to go for a walk? Well, it's kind of cold depending on where you're at in the country. Don't go for a walk if you're near Philly. But if you want to watch a movie or do something like that, it's really just about talking about those kind of things. My friend Roger Hershey, who actually might be watching tonight, he once told me disappointment comes from unmet expectations. And I really think that's true. You will be disappointed on Valentine's Day if you're expecting something to happen and then it does not. And the antidote to that is simply communication. My wife and I, in the beginning stages of our relationship, we communicated a ton, and we tried to keep that at the forefront of our relationship all the way. We're about to celebrate 10 years of marriage, and we try to communicate as much as possible. That leaves also tons of fun room for spontaneity and exciting things to do. So I say a lot of it, and the long and short of it is really just communicate. If you're on the beginning, middle, or you've been dating for years, talk to one another. That's my
Love
best.
it, dude. Great stuff. Wish we had time for way more questions, but we're going to have to cut it short with that because I know people have some stuff to do and we've taken a lot of your time. And I don't know if it's snowing there. Hopefully you'll be able to get home safely, my friend.
Yes, I can. It's good.
Hey, great stuff. Great stuff. Hey, wherever you are, give Shelby a hand. He can't hear you, but, it'll be awesome. That's great. Okay, you're probably wondering then, did I win? So you guys were active on Instagram and Twitter and just some great stuff. So I picked out just some people to give these autograph copies to. And so here's the deal. I'm going to announce the names, and then I will get in touch with you. I'll direct message you or I'll tweet at you or something like that. And then I'll get your address and I'll get these books out to you as soon as I can here. So here are the winners for the,
Can I
what's
pause
that?
for a minute? My wife just texted me, your car just blew up in the parking lot. Hashtag oopsie.
That's awesome. You married the right woman. I love it. I love it. All right. So here's the winners. Congratulations to at Zoe Muggs, Zoe Lindler. You got a book coming. I got Jonk Ray, Jonkreye. You got a book coming. You get a book. Okay. At Luis Gonza 9. So Luis Gonzalez, you got a book coming. Miss Darcy 3 on Instagram. You got a book coming. HR Knows, also on Instagram. I don't know your real name, but you go by HR Knows. You got a book coming. Jameel Tate, you got a book coming. Instagram photo from Jameel. Gabby Torres, also on Instagram. You got a book coming. Congratulations to at Golden Jordan 4. Jordan Keller, book coming for you. Two more. Holly 329. Holly Besky has got a book coming, or Besiki maybe. And then my old buddy Robert Crest. Robert, you got a book coming, my friend. Maybe you already got it. I'm not sure. But so at what space up space Rob, you got a book coming. So congratulations to you guys.